All right, so today we are lucky to have Coach Nate Albaugh on to have a chat with us. Coach Albaugh has been coaching across Illinois for over 20 years, including his most recent stint as Judah Christian School's first ever head coach. For many of us, myself included, we know Coach Albaugh as the founder and the man behind ChiefPigskin.com. And for those who don't know about Chief Pigskin, it is a website / online platform for coaches to grow and develop, offering blog posts through to clinic talks, really delivering on their mission, which is giving coaches what they want at an affordable price. Myself, I'm a member, and I've watched plenty of those clinics. Make sure you go follow Coach Albaugh on Twitter at the Chief Pigskin or at Nate Albaugh. The links will be in the description below. So before I fanboy anymore, let's get Coach on to talk some ball.
Hey Josh, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Coach. How are you?
Oh, really good, really good. Enjoying a nice day here in Illinois.
Brilliant. It's nice and cold here in Melbourne. So.
Oh, that's right. You guys are coming up on winter.
We are. Late autumn, and in Melbourne that basically means winter.
Okay.
We have weather very similar to Seattle or Toronto, minus the snow. So it's very cold.
Okay. I did not know that. I don't get out much.
No,
Sorry.
that's fine.
Typical American, right?
Yeah. So they say. But if you think if you think of Australia, flip it around, so upside down, and then it's exactly the same as America.
That's true. Okay, yeah. And like weather-wise and everything.
Yeah. So the bottom of Australia is the equivalent in weather-wise to the north of America.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, great. You want me to just jump in, or are we going to talk a little bit?
I'll let you introduce yourself, and we can just jump straight in, and we can go from there. And if I have any questions, I'll try not to interrupt too much.
Okay. All right, I'll take it away. So, appreciate you asking me to be on. Been coaching for quite a while, and as I said, it came up on 20 years this year, and just overnight, it felt like I was always the young guy on staff, and then the next thing I knew, I just wasn't anymore. It was that simple. I just wasn't the youngest guy anymore, and now I'm a veteran, and there's fun things about being a veteran. The bad thing about being a veteran is that you will always be accused of that's the old way of thinking, right? And so anyway, and everyone has to challenge themselves to say, anyone my age and above, you're going, okay, am I thinking old school, or am I keeping up with the game, or is part of some things I don't want to change? Is that smart? But yeah, Josh asked me to pick one thing and just talk for 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm a talker, so you talk about the simplest little slideshow ever. As I just threw this together, I'm like, hey, this is 4 slides. That's about probably 30 minutes, but I'm going to try to keep it to 15. So let's just jump in. What I wanted to talk about, when given one thing to talk about for 15 minutes, I think I would really like to just make my case for under center offenses. I understand, and you can see here on the first slide, the gun is the show. Being in the gun, that's the show. But I think it's important to understand that the people we see playing on TV are the best athletes in our country and playing this game at a high level, right? So you're talking about, the people that you're seeing on TV are, number one, they're the best, the collection of the best athletes in the country. And they've been playing this game for 10 years. And they have focused practice, right? They're only, for example, all the wide receivers you see are only wide receivers. All the quarterbacks you see are only quarterbacks. And they have focused practicing this skill for years and years and years, right? And they don't spend any time during their week tackling or thinking about defense. They're just thinking about the skill of throwing this ball. And I think the first time you put your hands on a football, truly put them on yourself and go to throw that thing, you realize how hard it is to throw. And, you watch on TV and it looks small. It does look really easy to throw that thing. But go hold one. And again, I would challenge so many fans, NFL fans across the country, to go put their hands on a real official football and try throwing this thing around a little bit, and see what you can do, right? So you figure once a quarterback drops back, he's 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which means in order to complete a 10-yard pass, which in the world of football is known as a short pass. Would you agree? That's absolutely a short pass in the world of football. You have to throw this thing 17 yards. Okay, what is that? That's 51 feet. Am I right? That's 51 feet. Yeah. That's a throw now. And that's the shortest pass. That's only a 10-yard pass right over the middle of the field. That's a 51-foot pass. So a 17-yard pass, you have to have, in order to make these throws in windows where people are running, right? So that's at a stationary target. Now you have to throw it at a target that's moving 17 yards minimum. And you have to do it while people are chasing you. And the reality is it's very, very hard. So I do understand, and we've done things that in the gun. But I think that people have to realize that offenses in the gun, that's the show. That's the big time, right? These are things happening at a very high skill level that normal humans can't do. Right? You go watch an NCAA football game and stand on the sideline, and when that team walks by you, you'll realize that these are not average humans. They're not average humans. They are massive human beings, and they were blessed with a skill that is you've never seen it, right? So you think I've coached for 20 years at some pretty big schools, and I've coached one Division I football player. Right? So you're talking about I've coached in 20 years one athlete that was good enough to play on TV, right? Because nobody else plays on TV. They don't put Division II on TV. They don't put Division III on TV. They don't put high school football on TV. They only put Division I athletes and above. And I've coached one in my life. Wow. So you have to know that these people on TV are rare. They're rare. Just like when I played Aussie rules football for 2 summers, which was a blast. When you watch Aussie rules on YouTube, these guys, they make a 50-meter kick look not very long. It looks easy to them. And you try kicking that thing on the run, it's darn near impossible. It just pops straight up in the air. So these things that we see on TV are hard. And I guess I feel passionately about that. Now, there are high school teams across the country that are winning a lot of games and throw the ball very, very well. So it certainly can be done. However, I think there's a strong case to be made to say, I need to look at a possible other way of making the meat and potatoes of my offense, right? And I think there's a case to be made for under center offenses. They are a little bit throwback, and I think they're fantastic for a lesser athlete. Right? Now, I've still had a lot of fantastic athletes. I mean, they're incredible athletes, but they're not good enough to play on TV. And I think there's a huge difference there, and we have to know that. So for me, it was discovering my own philosophy. In my very first year as a head coach, this is 11 years ago, I was gun. We were gun 2x2, and we were bubble screen and inside zone, and we would run a tackle wrap play. And we struggled to move the ball. That's all there was to it. And what I realized was, goodness, I could not throw that little bubble screen out there quite as quick as they could on TV. We couldn't complete it at this high a rate as they could on TV. And after my first year as a head coach, I thought I need a coaching philosophy, right? And my philosophy became, I want to make sure that I shoot myself in the foot less often than they shoot themselves. Okay. So we're going to make sure we shoot ourselves less. And so as I started studying offenses, I'm going, what offense gives us a real chance at forcing someone to beat us, right? Because I felt like if we could just build an offense around that, forcing someone to beat us instead of making our own mistakes, then at least I felt like we would win more games because we weren't going to lose as many that we should have won, right? We're going to make fewer mistakes. And that every decision we started making came around that question. Does this way, this style, offense, defense, moving the ball, is it create a possibility for the least amount of mistakes, right? And so as I started studying, I came across the wing tee, right? So became a huge wing tee fan and just started studying. I didn't grow up a wing tee guy. In fact, 2 years before I went to the wing tee, I can be heard quoted as saying, "This offense is stupid. Why does anybody run it?" Because I was trying to defend a team that was running it. Now, of course, that team beat us, and I thought it was dumb. And 2 years later, I'm a head coach and I'm running it. So I definitely didn't come from a wing tee family or wing tee background. But I had discovered as I started studying, this was a simple system that allowed for the least amount of mistakes. And I'm a huge triple option fan. But the reason I didn't want to go with triple option was because that ride and pitch, right? Now the ride, there's a decision happening between two high school kids. Who's going to keep and am I going to pull this or keep it? And that was a chance to make mistakes. The pitching this ball at this backwards course, that's a chance to make mistakes. And so again, it didn't truly fit my philosophy. So in the world of wing tee, there's no reads, and it was simply there are no decisions to make. I'm making the decision for the kids. We're going to kind of pound away. And in the years where we do start getting to be pretty darn talented, we can find ways to do more, right? Maybe I could throw a kid into the shotgun and throw it around a little bit more, right? But I just didn't want to have to depend on that kid year in and year out, right? Now, again, as I say all that, there are teams, and I could name a few right now, that are in the gun and are winning year in and year out. And so I could be happy in the gun. I certainly could. I'm not a under center or bust, but I want to make sure that coaches who coach at maybe a little bit smaller school or are dealing with athletes that can't do this full time. Let's say there's a lot of coaches in a lot of other countries trying to coach athletes that are just getting to know the sport. Right? Like playing it for the first time. I'm 17 and I decided to try it. We practice 2 times a week. There's all these things that are going on in all these other countries. People want to play the game. And all they know of football is what they're seeing on TV. So they think I need to be 2x2. I need to be trips. I need to be in the gun. And I just throw it all the time. And the reality is you just don't have to. There are other ways to move the ball. So we chose wing tee. There's a lot of under center offenses that I like, but we chose wing tee. The reason that I think under center offenses deserve a look by youth coaches, by coaches who are dealing with smaller schools or athletes that can't play this full time, or newer athletes and more inexperienced athletes, is the whole mistakes thing. When you are under center, a fumbled snap costs you 1 yard. It's a 1 yard loss. When you are in the gun, a fumbled snap costs you -5 to -12. And it's that simple. And that is a big difference. And again, it came back to me saying, we can't shoot ourselves. We can't shoot ourselves because if you watch film of any horrible team, and listen, there's a lot of great teams in America. There's a lot of horrible teams. And they play bad football. And when you watch film of bad football teams, it's mistake after mistake. It's fumbled snap. It's fumbled handoff. It's missed tackles. It's mistakes, right? And so, again, we had to say, we have to at least stop being bad, right? Like I kept saying, we can't even think about being good at football until we stop being horrible at football, right? So we had to take a step to get back to even before we could think about taking a step to get ahead. And for us, that's what going under center was. So we went under center and we said, we're going to stop being horrible. We have to stop being horrible. And it allowed us, of course, most teams that are under center are going to be very run heavy. Run heavy gives you, and being under center, in my opinion, gives 2 huge advantages. Number one, you have the power to run trap. And the trap play is the simplest, effective scheme there is. I'm a little bit amazed and taken back repeatedly year after year at how simple the play is, yet how essential and how effective it is. And that we can gash teams year after year, week after week with this simple play. But you have to be under center to run it really, really well, right? And so you get to gain the advantage of a simple play with 0 reads, right? How many highly effective run plays are there that with 0 reads involved? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's just not very many plays you can run repeatedly with zero reading, and trap happens to be one of them. When you get good at trap, then you can be good at the things that are going on outside of it. And whether your outside plays are toss, or your outside play is power, or your outside play is sweep of some sort, which ours was sweep, you have the power of trap. And if you get under center, you can run it repeatedly and really hold people accountable. And year after year, I keep running it more and more and more. Right. So it's like, first in my curve of being a coach, I wanted to try new plays and learn more and do fancy things. And then I went over this hump in my career. And as I've come down the other side, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to run trap more. And I'm finding ways to hold myself accountable to running trap more. So a beautiful thing of under center is you get the advantage of the simplest play, the simplest effective run play in football, which is trap. It's a great play. The second thing that you get is wedge. And I read a book about King Leonidas, and they made a movie 300, the famous, where he said, "This is Sparta," and he kicks the guy down the hole. That's about the same book. Well, the book is amazing. King Leonidas, was the leader, man. But the Spartans at the time, they had this warfare where I would put my shield here, the guy in front, and the guy behind me would put his shield on my back, and the guy behind him would put his shield on his back, and they would just throw themselves and run you over. They just run you over. And these kids would practice this by just driving into a tree, right? A guy on a guy on a guy on a guy. And I say all that because honestly, it's old ancient warfare. There's 3 ways to attack. And that's what my dad grew up telling me. He loves war. 3 ways to attack in war. One is full frontal assault. I got full frontal. Am I more powerful? The second is to try to attack your edge, to outflank you. And in the world of football, there's lots of ways to outflank you. Rocket toss, and I'm going to crack block. And then the last way is the counter. I'm going to make you think I'm coming one way, but I'm actually coming another way, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that there are too many offenses that forget about that third way to attack. And it's as old as Greek warfare, and that's straight at you. Okay. And the wedge play, if you get under center, you can't forget about wedge. One of the advantages of being under center is I'm about to get the ball and I'm already on the line of scrimmage, which means I'm an inch from positive yardage. That's an advantage. Why not take advantage of that? Right. So we're going to wedge, and we're going to wedge a lot. And now when we have to have wedge, it's 4th and 1 and we have to have it. Wedge is an easy call for us because not only are we capable of doing this, we're really good at this. I mean, we practice this repeatedly, right? And we're just throwing our shield into our buddy's back. Like, we're not blocking you. We're blocking a wedge. We're wedging ourselves. And when you go under center, I think you have to use the advantage of being under center, right? Just like if you're going to go in the gun, why would you go gun and not throw quick passes? Because one of the advantages of being in the gun is that you've got 5 yards of built-in drop back and protection. That's an advantage, right? So don't run the gun, but not use the advantage of the gun, I guess is what I'd be saying, right? And so I'd say don't run under center, but not use the advantage of being under center, which is you're literally, you could smell positive yardage, that quarterback, right? You're there, you're at positive yardage, take it. So you can tell that I get really excited about this, so I'll go ahead and move on. The last advantage is that there is an advantage in the passing game if you attack this the right way. Okay, you don't have to be a pass-heavy team to be effective throwing the ball, but when you do throw, you need to be effective, right? So we run the ball. We might get 75 plays in a game. We're probably going to run 60. We might throw 20, right? Maybe we might run 65 and throw it 15, depending on how well things are going. Well, when we throw, we want to throw for 10 yards or more, right? We don't want, as a team who specializes in 5-yard attacks, we don't want to draw up pass plays for 5-yard attacks. Again, if we badly needed 5, we've got lots of options to choose from running the ball that are pretty effective for 5. Yeah. So when we want to go to the air, we would like to really stretch it. Like, we want you as a defensive coordinator to have to watch that ball go in the air. We really want to make your eyes go up Because when your eyes go up, the next thing that comes out of your mouth is usually something yelling at your corners to stay back. Whether we complete it or not, the next thing out of your mouth as a defensive coach to your defensive backs is, I need you to stay back, right? But in order to do that, I need to make your eyes go up in the air. That's what makes a defensive coach nervous, is when his eyes have to go up. So when we throw, we want to throw big. We have to hold ourselves to stretching it. Now, I already said throwing the ball is hard, right? Throwing it accurately is hard. So what we wanted to do is get good at throwing a small number of passes, right? So we want to throw deep, but it takes time to practice and it's hard to get good at. So what we did is we tried to get good at throwing deep to one spot, and with a repeated set of footwork, right? My footwork is repeated and I could throw deep to one spot. And for us, our one spot was right directly over the center of the field, 50 yards directly over the center of the field. Now, again, 50-yard throw, it's really a 40-yard throw because my quarterback's going to drop back 7 to 10 yards. He's going to heave it 50 yards straight down the center of the field. That's our spot, right? So then it's on us as coaches to find ways to get guys to our spot, right? So we're going to run and attack so that you are trying to come up to stop us, and then we're going to stretch you vertically and try to throw deep. Right now, we also throw boot, waggle, which, again, that's like one of the best plays in football. I won't say the best. There's a lot of great ones, but one of the best plays in football is just classic boot, tight end dragging across. That's hard to defend. We're going to run that. But outside of that, we'd really like to stretch deep, right? So the last advantage of being under center is that you have the power of hiding the ball. Is that quarterback, after go, he turns around, right? He's turned around and you can't see the ball. And when you're in gun, no matter how well you mesh and are good at this, and listen, there's lots of great things about being the gun. I'm not silly. I understand, right? Again, you can be highly effective at it. But you don't ever turn your back, which means hiding the ball is harder. It's just harder, right? So if you're going to be on this under center, use one of the advantages of being under center and hide the ball, right? So I'm going to turn my back. Quarterback turns his back, might show a flash fake, and now all of a sudden, as he's dropping back, he's 5 to 7 yards deep. He's got a little bit of room, and we got room to go deep, right? So that's what we want to do. So, and I'll just show you a clip or two here. So this is a pretty good high school. We have a school of about 1,200 kids, so that's pretty good size high school football, and we're playing in the playoffs here, in the first round of the playoffs. So we're playing a very good football team. And you'll see, our offensive playbook is run. But then we're going to throw. And when we throw, we want to throw here to the center of the field. So I'll let you take a look at it here. And, again, taking me a second to even find so here's our first attempt at throwing deep in the game. So we run a counter fake. We call this our gather gain with our feet. Consistent feet. Gather your feet, gain, and throw deep to the center of the field, if you notice. Now, we miss. But, again, look at this defense. What do you suppose the defensive coordinator is telling his kids right over this, right? Hey, I need so-and-so. You need to stay back. I get it. They run a lot. I get it. But somebody's going to have to stay back and really back. Yeah. So what happens now, we'll just show another one. So here's another option. This is a different play, but another one of our options that gets a guy to the middle of the field. Gather gain with our feet, throw to our spot, 50 yards vertical. Now, this one's underthrown. So far we're 0 for 2 in this, throwing deep. But again, we need to throw deep. We need to stretch the field. So now there's a third attempt. So what you've seen here are 3 different offensive plays, but notice that all 3 are really an identical throw for your quarterback. I mean, he's throwing to the middle of the field. All 3 of these, you just saw 3 of our best deep pass plays, and they all go to the same spot on the field. Okay? So you see here we are 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, we're in the quarterfinals now of the state playoffs. So we're getting really deep now. And this is against a defense who has given up very few points all year. And sure enough, this is our second drive of the game. And you'll see that the same stuff is working. Gather, gain, throw to our spot. That's our spot. It's deep. It's in the middle of the field. we will get a guy open there, right? Why is it open there? Here's why we love throwing to the middle of the field. When you run the ball relentlessly, and when you get good at whatever you focus on. If you focus on and you make a commitment, I want to be great at throwing hitch, you'll be pretty darn good at throwing it. If you make a concerted effort to say, we want to be fantastic at running the ball and holding you accountable with trap and sweep, you'll get good at it. You will. You'll get good at this. And every defense in America has to do this. They have to say, okay, I can keep two guys back to cover the pass, and they're going to keep their corners back. They say, I can keep my corners back to cover the pass. Well, where do corners play? They play on the edges. But these safeties in the middle, dude, I need your help. They're too good. I need help defending that. And so most defenses, it's not all, right? There's never a blanket statement all. But most defenses have to get the help of this safety. So here they are with the best athlete on their team, or second best. He's a fantastic athlete, incredible speed. But he has no chance because we're forcing him to come downhill, right? This is just the second drive of the game. But notice he gets stuck coming downhill. You go in the wrong direction, we're going to get a guy behind him, okay? And then sure enough, in the second half, we're able to do the same thing again it's a different play, but we get again our same spot. And I just say all this to show that it is possible. It is possible to be effective throwing the ball. That I don't think kids get bored in this. Touchdowns are fun to score no matter how they're scored. And here we are completing another one, right? We always have a fantastic wide receiver. We always throw the ball, but we are very controlled about how we decide to throw the ball. And we're always going to use our advantages of our offense in order to throw it, right? We're going to turn our back to the line of scrimmage. Watch our quarterback here. We're going to turn our back, right? We're going to turn our back and we're going to set our feet and throw to our one spot. And we're going to get really good at it. So when you play us, you're not going to see usually very many deep passes out here, right? You're not going to see a really wide variety of throwing the ball, but you're going to have to find a way to defend this deep middle of the field. And it's pretty hard to do. It's just hard to do, right? Unless you're willing to take one guy away from defending everything else and just sit him back here. So it's pretty hard to do. So all of that to say, I think probably a few too many people coaching the game of football at lower levels. And I'll say lower levels. I've coached at really small schools. And I don't think lower levels always means that it's like some lesser level. It's not lesser, but you're at a level where you have fewer athletes or you have less time. And that's just a reality of the game. And I think that under center offenses probably could deserve a little bit more of your time. And when I say you, that coach who's considering, he's coaching youth football, he's coaching at a place that doesn't have a lot of time, I think you should look into it. There's a lot of experts out there. Resources all over YouTube. So really, this pumped me up, man. I was painting a house an hour ago, and now I'm all fired up about football. So thanks for having me on, Josh. No, and, of course, if anybody wanted to talk ball, feel free to reach out.
Brilliant. Appreciate that, Coach. Being a flexbone coach, it was definitely music to my ears. And having some success running that and the triple option has been good, and it's very different to what gets run down in Australia. So I get it. It makes great sense. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you're a flexbone guy.
Yeah. I guess that's what people consider me. Yep.
Okay. And there's not a lot of that in Australia, you said?
There's none.
Okay.
So it is rather unique here. Like you said, everyone wants to be in the gun. So in Australia, a lot of people sit in the gun. The closest they'll get to under center is that more pistol look with the back behind and the quarterback sort of still at 4 yards, 3.5. And we do that sometimes, so we'll do a bit of pistol flex in that really short sort of shotgun look, the 2 yards. But for the most part, we'll be under center and we'll be in the flex or split back, and we'll run inside veer, we'll run rocket toss, we'll run jet sweep, and then hit him with a counter for 70 yards and a touchdown with no one realizing the guy has the ball. So
you really can do some lethal things, and something about turning your back to the line of scrimmage. Like I said, man, that those counters can just be lethal. So,
Yeah.
really excited and thankful that you asked me on. It's cool to be on. It's cool to be talking to somebody literally on the other side of the world. Like, just the fact that for you it's Friday and for
Yeah.
me it's Thursday. That's a weird feeling.
It is. Technology makes it amazing.
Truly does.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Coach. And again, remember, if you want, get in contact with Coach. His details will be in the description below. And if you like this kind of stuff, feel free to give it a like, subscribe, share, and comment.